My sister used her husband's death as an opportunity to get close to my husband, then started demanding that I divorce him so she could be with him instead. A year ago, my sister Lisa lost her husband. In the aftermath, she reached out to my husband Rick for support. They spent a lot of time together without me. One day I came home to find them sleeping in our bed. Although they were fully clothed and not facing each other, it made me uncomfortable, so I asked Lisa to leave. The next day, without telling me, my husband invited her over again. When I opened the door, she was crying and immediately ran into his arms. Before anyone could say anything, she demanded that I leave the room because she had something private to discuss with Rick. I was upset but complied. From the other room, I heard Lisa moaning. When I went back in, I was shocked to see them making out. My world shattered. I ran to my room, feeling like I was going to vomit, and locked myself inside. An hour later, Rick came in but wouldn't look at me. He mumbled something and sat on the bed. Furious, I demanded to know what was going on between him and my sister. After a few minutes of silence while I cried, he finally whispered that he loved her. I lost control and yelled at him, asking how he could do this to me. I reminded him of our 10 years together and asked if they meant nothing to him. I dropped to my knees, begging to know how he could betray me with my own sister and then claim to love her. He remained silent until I stopped yelling. Then he said he had always regretted not experimenting with other women before we got married and felt he shouldn't have married the first girl he was with. Stunned, I asked if he had ever truly loved me. He said he did, but realized after spending time with my sister that she was who he wanted to be with. I was speechless. My life was falling apart, and I was terrified. In desperation, I told him I might be pregnant. Surprisingly, he didn't freak out. He said he would support me and the baby but was leaving me to be with my sister. He apologized, saying I deserved better than him and promised to do whatever he could to help me and the baby. He said if I agreed to divorce him, he would give me everything. In that moment, I felt like I hated him and never wanted to see him again. In response, I screamed at him, "Fine, just get the F out. You've ruined my life. I hope you're effing happy, you piece of crap." He had the audacity to try to hug me, but I flipped out and pushed him off. Someone knocked on the door then, and he told me he still loved me and that we would figure everything out, then left. I decided to call my parents to tell them what happened. My mum dropped a bombshell. My sister had told her she had feelings for my husband and wanted to be with him. Right now, I'm sitting at the computer looking up lawyers in my area. Update 1: I woke up this morning feeling like complete crap and didn't want to get up. I went and got a pregnancy test, and thank God, I am not pregnant. It was bittersweet because we had been trying to get pregnant for a while, and I never thought I'd be so glad to see I wasn't. A little while later, I left the house to get groceries and found a letter from Lisa in my mailbox. After I got home, I opened it and read her apology for how things turned out. She explained that she was very vulnerable after losing her husband, and after spending so much time with mine, she started to fall for him. She thought she would never love anyone else again, so when she realized she loved my husband, she couldn't let him go. Lisa promised they never physically did anything before the kiss I caught them in. She said she needed me in her life and hoped I could forgive her. I can't write any more about this right now. I might add more later. I am a mess. Rick also called me a little while ago. I didn't pick up, so he texted me, saying he still loves me and that we can find a way to work this out. I don't know what the F that means, since he just left me for Lisa. Now I'm really confused. Now that I'm not pregnant, I want to be, and I want my marriage to not be over, even though I hate him for what he's done. Why would he text me that? Is he changing his mind? I am so confused. I wish these past few days had never happened so nothing would be wrong. Still, I know I shouldn't forgive him if he wants another chance, but 10 years of marriage and we were going to be parents. I am so confused and hurt I can't think straight. Update 2: I talked to my mother again, and she informed me that she had known about my sister's feelings for my husband for quite some time. She didn't want to tell me because she was trying to get my sister to give up the idea and didn't want me to be hurt. She got my sister to agree to let it go a few months ago and never heard anything more about it, so she thought it was over. In the letter Lisa sent, she apologized for her behavior, but also blamed me, saying that I flaunted my happiness with my husband in front of her. She wrote that she couldn't stand to see how happy we were and how he genuinely loved me when she had no one. She also said that my husband told her he never really loved me and that she was who he really wanted to be with. Lisa asked me not to contact him directly and said she would bring over the divorce papers in a few weeks. I've had a few days to process this information, but the more I think about it, the more confusing it seems. Today, I got more information Lisa is pregnant, and she says it's Rick's. Rick called me as soon as he heard my father inform me. I picked up the phone only because I wanted to hear how he could lie to my face and tell me nothing happened between them before that kiss. He said he was sorry and didn't want it to happen this way, that my father wasn't supposed to tell me. I started crying and asked how he could get Lisa pregnant when we were trying for a baby. Then he said something that stunned me so much my head is still spinning. Rick told me he could still get me pregnant if I wanted. I screamed at him. Why the F would I want to be pregnant with your child when you are a piece of crap? He told me he wanted to be with both me and my sister and thinks he is polyamorous. I was so shocked that I started laughing. After I stopped laughing, he tried to say something else. Then I heard Lisa enter the room and ask who he was on the phone with. He said nobody and hung up. A little later, my sister texted me, saying she would bring over the divorce papers in a week and expected me to sign them on the spot as my husband is giving me everything. She gave me a heads up that they are getting married next month and that I am invited to the wedding if I agree to pretend like I was never romantically involved with my husband. I am literally at such a loss right now. Who the F is this man? And where is the one I married? Why, after all this crap, do I still want to be with him even though I know I can't? I just want the man I've been with for the past 10 years back. I hate Lisa and no longer consider her my sister. She has ruined my entire life. But what do I do about my husband? He just texted me saying he still wants to be with me, loves me, and wants a baby with me. Why is he doing this to me? Why am I even considering it? Update 3. I am deeply ashamed to write this and admit it, but after Rick hung up that call, his offer became more and more tempting. I started thinking about it, becoming enraged at my sister for what she did to me, and considering that I could get back at her by doing it. The thought of throwing it in her face that her new boyfriend doesn't love her more than me gave me a pleasure I never would have imagined. I was so angry that I heavily considered doing it out of sheer petty revenge. Don't get me wrong, I also wanted my husband and my life back, but the thought of seeing my sister's newfound happiness and smugness over me come crashing down was incredibly satisfying. My sister tried very hard to keep my contact with Rick limited. I think she was afraid he would come back to me if she didn't. She managed to accomplish this for a few months, but Rick kept trying to contact me in numerous ways. Although his attempts were always brief, I was still angry and non-receptive to his advances. However, he started becoming more and more aggressive, telling me how much he loved me, missed me, and still wanted me. I even tried blocking him on certain social media accounts, but he kept trying on others. I know I should have blocked him on everything, but I just couldn't. The more he tried, the harder it was for me to say no. Unfortunately, this resulted in us getting back together. I told him I wouldn't stay with him unless he left my sister. He swore up and down that he loved me more than anything, and that facing losing me made him realize it, claiming my sister meant nothing to him. Everything between us felt amazing again, like old times, as if my sister didn't exist when he was with me. Yet, every night he would go back to her. Stupidly, I decided to believe him when he said he was just waiting for the right time, offering excuse after excuse about how bad he felt for her. Things felt so much better when he was back with me, and I didn't want to lose him again. Unfortunately, I ended up getting pregnant because I did not continue my birth control. When we were trying for a child before any of this happened, we were both ecstatic. Everything seemed like a dream come true. I had my husband back, we were having a child, and my life was no longer in pieces. I was so happy that I turned a blind eye to everything obviously messed up about the situation. I didn't want to see it, I just wanted to stay happy. It wasn't long before Lisa found out, and my entire family turned on me. My parents accused me of doing this out of retaliation to hurt Lisa. They weren't completely wrong, but I mainly just wanted my old life back. Long story short, Lisa went absolutely berserk. She threatened to unalive me and sent me a long list of harassing texts, emails and calls. I endured hell from her and my family for months until I had to get a protective order. This only resulted in my family hating me even more. Now, none of them will speak to me, and Rick has been issued an ultimatum by them to cut me off or be cut off. He hasn't decided yet, but it seems like he is leaning towards cutting me off as he has been communicating with me less and less these past weeks. Not to mention, there has been mounting pressure from the family for him to finalize the divorce, but it hasn't happened for various reasons. The last thing he told me was that he feels badly but loves her, and insinuated that I tempted him into trying to get back with me, which is complete bullcrap because he was the one who kept pursuing me. He said that I shouldn't have gotten pregnant because now I've made his life so much harder. How I let myself believe he was the man I married again is beyond me. Now, all I see is how clouded my judgment has been and the utter mess I've gotten myself into. In trying so hard to be happy again, I destroyed my life even more. I'm 8 months pregnant and scared. I don't know how I can raise this baby alone. I really don't want to give her up for adoption, and the pain of losing my husband twice is unbearable, even though I know it was because of my own stupidity. I still love him and can't believe everything he has done to me. Losing my entire family over this has been a huge kick when I'm already at rock bottom. Most of our mutual friends have distanced themselves from us because no one wants to take sides, but it's obvious they are all quite disgusted with how things have turned out. I have no one left now. It wasn't long before Lisa found out, and my entire family turned on me. My parents accused me of doing this out of retaliation to hurt Lisa. They weren't completely wrong, but I mainly just wanted my old life back. Long story short, Lisa went absolutely berserk. She threatened to unalive me and sent me a long list of harassing texts, emails and calls. I endured hell from her and my family for months until I had to get a protective order. This only resulted in my family hating me even more. Now, none of them will speak to me, and Rick has been issued an ultimatum by them to cut me off or be cut off. He hasn't decided yet, but it seems like he is leaning towards cutting me off as he has been communicating with me less and less these past weeks.